Greetings and peace. I hope you and yours are doing well today, wherever you might be watching this from. And the second Masonic education video I wanted to do for the month of September 2022 is the Upanishads. And this book is the Upanishads Made Easy to Understand by Ramananda Prasad of the International Gita Society. And this makes it easy to understand the philosophy of the Upanishads and the Sanskrit teachings of many of the rishis and the sages that transmitted that knowledge over time. And I wanted to do like a Sufi and Masonic interpretation of what I do of these teachings to show you that no matter what path or philosophy or religion you're looking at, it's all teaching you the same exact thing. And I took notes, which I wanted to go over certain points which stood out to me while reading this. And what I'll do is I'll put a link for this in the description below as well. And here's a view of it so you see which exact version that I have. So a lot of the Upanishad stood out to me. It's basically telling you the aspect oneness of the Brahma, the one true supreme being, or the Masonic equivalent, the grand architect of the universe, where everything stems from, all life. And we're all brothers and sisters on this path, walking each other home, guiding each other home, uplifting one another. And the Upanishads are basically sitting near the enlightened master. And you have to be able to sit with someone who can guide you and teach you. See, we live in this Western world where individualism is promoted, and they're telling you, oh, you don't need anybody, you don't need to marry, you don't need to be in a relationship, you don't need to deal with anyone. That's not true. As mankind, we do need each other. Even in Freemasonry, you cannot join without the approval of your peers. You cannot join unless you have a worshipful master. You cannot join unless you have a mentor, a brother. So we are there guiding each other home, and that's what the Upanishads are. That you need to sit with someone who's enlightened, who can guide you. None of us have the answers in life. So our ego must submit to a teacher and a guide, whether it's a worshipful master in Freemasonry, a Sheikh in Sufism, a guide in any spiritual path. Your ego must submit, because part of getting close to God or the grand architect is submission to the will of God. We all come from the infinite Brahman that has no beginning or end, and everything is a manifestation of his creation. Do not crave material possessions. Nothing belongs to you but God. And that's why in the Masonic path you're taught to be charitable. Be charitable, be loving, be happy, and know that what you reciprocate to others will come back to you times 10. And this is a quote that I'm sharing from the book. After many births, the enlightened one surrenders to my will by realizing that everything is indeed my manifestation. Such a great soul is rare. That's from the Brahman, the supreme being in the Upanishads. So it's telling you, once you realize that all of this is just meaningless, the degrees, the titles, the accolades, you're striving so hard to be known and be rich and famous, but you could be gone and you'll be forgotten in a few days. People might cry for you for a day, 2 days, 3 days, say some good things about you, remember you, but what happens eventually? People move on. So just strive on the good deeds and loving each other and doing good deed for others. Because what you do for others, that's what humanity will continue to remember you by. And therefore, you immortalizing yourself or your memory. And it also tells you that everything is God in manifestation. And it gives an example from the book of John in the Holy Bible, 10:34, that ye are gods. And also from Wadat al-Wujud. This is what I was able to see. They see the comparison in Sufism, that Wadat al-Wujud, that everything is Allah or God in manifestation. And everything is Brahman, really, that's what it's telling you. So in the beginning, the primordial source creator, when there was nothing in existence, it was Brahman was there. After everything dissolves in this life, Brahman will still be there. So it's telling you to just enjoy the ride, because the beginning and the end are going to be the same. And in between are the existence of all of these realms, species, and beings. So don't sweat it too much. Just enjoy and fulfill the purpose that you're meant to be here for. It's all a play. The universe is made up of the Lord. He's the creator, operator, and destroyer. The universe is made up of God, made by God, and made for God to reside, play, and enjoy his creation. So this is all a play, and God just wants to see you dance. This is what this is, my brothers and sisters. And I tell you, don't chase after this life. Don't be a sellout. Don't be a backstabber. Don't be a backbiter. Love and respect each other. Uplift each other. Join a brotherhood. Be a good person. The values of Freemasonry, Sufism, all these different brotherhoods and paths that are teaching us the same exact divine truth. Everything else is a play. Live like a lotus. Live life without ego and surrender to the will of God. Everything comes back. It all comes back to surrender and trusting God. The wise one loves and respects all, who doesn't see any difference between race or religion. The one who falls in that trap, he's going to keep coming back here, right? It's just like a college entrance exam. You try to go get into college, you got to take the entrance exam to try to start your courses. But if you keep failing, you get put in the remedial courses until you get to English 101, 102, and until you get it right. So you're going to keep coming back here until you get it right, and that's what this is telling you. Let go of fear of death. Always remember God in each breath. So that's basically, even in Freemasonry, the immortality of the soul, that you continue to exist even after this life is over in the Grand Lodge above, and so on and so forth. Self-restraint, sacrificial works, living your life in service to other, as the Masonic path teaches you. Circumscribe your desires and live life within due bounds. Live your life in service to others. Be charitable. Volunteer. Sponsor a local coffee shop. Sponsor a youth league. And do something for the community. That's what makes you stand out from the rest. And that's what will help you get off this wheel of samsara if you follow that lifestyle. Katha Upanishad. Lead me from unreal to real. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to immortality. Death is your teacher. And how even in these notes and in my studies from the Upanishads, it's teaching us the same divine truth of the memento mori that we find in Freemasonry and the teachings of death and rebirth. That it is darkness to light, immortality of the soul, the sacrificial works, being a good person, and knowing, living your life in service to others, that ultimately you got to do what you got to do with the time that you've been given. Make the best use of the human life that's been given to you. Also, materialism and desires are bondage. Do not be a sellout. And the Upanishads are teaching you great divine truths if you are willing to absorb all that it's offering you. You are an immortal soul that always exists. The spirit is neither born or dead. So this current avatar that I'm in, I've existed before in many forms. Right now I'm in this form, known as Salman Sheikh. In the future I will exist in other forms. So I'm part of that one divine spirit, doing the great work that I was sent here to do. And with that in mind, I live my life in peace, knowing that I will always be loved, protected, and provided for, as should you, if you're on that path. And this is a quote from Krishna. You grieve for those who are not worthy of grief, and yet speak words of wisdom. The wise grieve neither for the living nor for the dead, because they know it's all part of that divine truth, whether it's expressed from the left side or the right side, right? So why grieve? You know it's all one ultimate manifestation. Brahman is the only true reality. You must not see any difference between the Creator and creation. As it even says in other holy scriptures, we created mankind in our image and in our likeness. How even in Freemasonry, we're supposed to be brothers on the level. Not seeing any difference between occupation, socioeconomic, race, religion, country. Those are all things that which are there to cause any kind of difference between us. But once you see the oneness and all of that, then you kind of reached that nirvana, you could say. You reach that enlightenment because you know it's all one divine truth. And that's basically, you're getting close to finding your way out of here. So eternal peace belongs to the wise who perceive with him God within themselves and in each other. The Supreme Being existed before the sun, the moon, and the fire came into creation. And after creation will dissolve, the Supreme Being will always still be there. If a man is able to comprehend or know Brahman before death, he is liberated. If not, he has to take birth again and again in the greater worlds. And this reminds me of even Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, who says that there are 70,000 different worlds that are operating, just like Earth, right? And each set, all of those realms, the 70,000 worlds, they all think that they're the only life force that are there. Just like how we think we're here alone by ourselves, but everything is right in front of you if you have the eyes to see it. So that's what it's telling you. Find the oneness, and you will find the truth. When all the ties, desires, attachments, ego, etc. are severed by knowledge, then the mortal becomes immortal in this body of the earth. So you got to sever all of the desires and chasing after this or chasing after that. Once you surrender to the divine will and just say, God, I surrender to you. Let your will be done through my life, through my actions. Boom. That's it. That's all you need to do. Don't hate anybody. Don't have any negative or dirty thoughts against anybody. Don't plot against anybody, because it all comes back to you. So be good from the outside and the inside. Don't be somebody that just looks good on the outside but is dirty on the inside. You got to be both. This alone. So basically this here, when all the ties, desires, attachments, ego, etc. are severed by knowledge, the quest for knowledge, even for a Freemason, to get better and better, to chip away at his rough ashlar until it becomes a perfect ashlar, then the mortal becomes immortal, the immortality of the soul, in this body here on the earth. This alone is the summary of all the Vedantic teachings. And even Albert Pike in Morals and Dogma, he gives so much credit to the Vedic teachings. You must seek liberation through knowledge, charity, and good deeds. The life of a Freemason, what the Upanishads are also teaching you. Way before Freemasonry's official founding, right? So you look at all of these teachings that are there, it's all one and the same. It's all telling you to find that one divine truth. And as I go through these teachings, you see that the wise see the oneness in everything. So moving on, the wise see God in all and all in God. We're all brothers on the level, regardless of who we are, where we come from, and we love and respect each other and uplift ourselves and each other through knowledge, good deeds, and charity. There are two types of knowledge. Lower knowledge, Vedanya, which is also classified in Siksha, rules, Kalpa, the rituals, Vyanakram, grammar, Niratuka, etymology, Chandas, prosody, and Jyotish, astronomy. And these are what you call like the 7 liberal arts of Freemasonry: grammar, rhetoric, logic, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. And as a Freemason, you are taught to perceive those liberal arts and sciences, just like in the Upanishads teachings of the Vedic teachings, you're taught to pursue these forms of knowledge as well, right? And the higher knowledge it's telling you is that you go which way Brahman is attained. So even Freemasonry is telling you in the pursuit of the 7 liberal arts that how to pursue and become one with the Brahman or Allah or the Supreme Being, Grand Architect, in whichever name you give that oneness. So if you pursue these 7 liberal arts and use that to perfect your character, you will get closer to that divine truth. So you are being given the truth and the teachings if you choose to apply it. Purpose of creation. The creative activity of the Lord is a mere pastime of the divine power, Maya, without any purpose or motive. So this is all God, for God's entertainment, right? That the perfect treasure, even it says in the Quran, the perfect treasure who's trying to understand itself through itself. He's the one that makes you laugh. He's the one that makes you cry. Both good and evil come from him. He's the one testing you and trying you and perfecting your character. He's the one putting you through the good times, the bad time. It's all him. And it's all a stage for his entertainment. When he is seen in both, the mortal and the immortal, the saint and the sinner, talking about the manifestations of the Grand Architect. When he is seen in both, the mortal and the immortal, the saint and the sinner, all shackles, ego, desires, attachments are broken, all doubts are resolved, and all karma is burnt up. He knows the Supreme Brahman really becomes Brahman. You're either righteous or not. It's not about, I'm a good Muslim, I'm a good Christian, I'm this or that. Those are usually people masking their hubris and egos and hiding behind masks, and while pretending that they're good, godly people, but instead they're cheating people, they're lying to people, they're hurting people. So good and bad exist in all races, religions, and creeds of the world. So either you're righteous, regardless of your race or religion or background, you're a good person trying to do the right thing, or you're not. That's only two things that separate the wheat from the chaff. So also treat your parents as gods. And those that have honored their parents is basically you honoring God. Those that were used for your creation to bring you into this earth, love them, respect them. If there's anything that happened in the past, make peace with them. Because in order to find forgiveness, you must be able to forgive yourself as well and find healing. Always do your actions with good faith and modesty. Don't do anything for somebody if you're going to rub it in their face later. Don't do a charity for somebody if you're going to brag about it. Oh, I did this, I did that, or post it on social media. Don't be like that. If you're going to do that, then don't even bother helping somebody. And that's what it's telling you. Always do your actions with good faith or modesty. Do good for all, and especially even in Freemasonry, it tells you you have to do good for all, and those especially of the household of the faithful. And everyone has a claim upon your kind offices, that wherever you can help others, please choose to do so without expecting anything in return. Think about it. We need these teachings in today's world where humanity is suffering. Why are we suffering? Why is everywhere you go there's inflation, high crime, people just looking at each other in a suspicious way? People don't even say hi to each other. High crime everywhere, natural disasters, countries being flooded. Why? We're being held accountable for us not getting our acts together. So, you know, one living being is food for another. The eater and the eaten are the same. As you think, you become. And breathe. So it's telling you, watch your thoughts, watch your actions. Don't forget to breathe, the life force energy. And I asked this gentleman once, he's on the spiritual path, and he's, I think, 60 or 70 plus, and I asked him, what advice can you give me? He said, just breathe. Also, you have the aspect of the Supreme Being, has his hands, feet, eyes, head, mouth, and everywhere, because he's the all-pervading and the omnipresent, the all-seeing eye of the grand architect of the universe. In Islam, you have the 99 names of Allah, Al-Basir, the all-knowing, all-seeing. You're always being watched and observed. Live a good, clean life with a good conduct. Are you really claiming to be who you're claiming to be? So keep that in mind. Be a good person, because you will be held accountable for everything. No one in this world is his master. No one has any control over him. There's no way to prove his existence. He is the cause of all causes and the ruler of the individual souls. He has no parent, nor is there anyone who is his Lord. So it's telling you everything that I covered, because I wanted to keep this like at least in a 20-minute time frame for this Masonic education video. With this right here, the Upanishads, everything that it's telling you, my brothers and sisters, it's telling you the truth of life. It's telling you the truth of life, how to be a good, clean person, and how to live a life with a good, clean conduct. And in times when our world needs it the most. And think about it. Why is our world suffering right now? Why is humanity suffering? Why are we going through the things that we're going through? Why? So we need to follow these things of doing good for all, not expecting anything in return, being charitable in our deeds, in our life, in our action, and all the things that we're meant to do, people that we're meant to see, places that we're meant to go. Try to do the right thing, my brothers and sisters, and enjoy the gift of life that's been given to all of us. And just try to do the right thing. Live a good, clean life. Try to see the oneness of the Creator, whether it's Sufism that's telling you about Wadat al-Wujud, that everything is Allah, or the Upanishads, everything is Brahman. Surrender to the will of the divinity. Let His will be done, because His will be done regardless of your approval or not. So surrender to that one divine truth and watch that you will always be loved, protected, and provided for. I cannot stress that enough. And everything that you're meant to do, everything will work out for you. Just like in Freemasonry, trust God, do not fear anything. Pursue knowledge, help others, be a good person. All of this stuff is teaching you the same exact thing. I've covered so many races, religions, and groups on this channel. It's all teaching you the same thing. So I hope you benefited, and please check this out, the Upanishads Made Easy to Understand. I got it from Amazon, and I'll put it in the link in the description below. Peace and blessings be with you and all as we head towards the fall season. Thank you.